Today's tip is the importance of trusting yourself. We are all given the spiritual gift of intuition. And unfortunately, the world is set up for us to trust everything else but ourselves. Instinctively, we know what's good for us and what is not, and somehow we just don't listen. We are the only species on Earth that have three brains, one in our head and the others in our heart and gut. Hence the saying, I had a gut feeling. The body is always talking to us, so listen closely, whether it's through a headache, a heartache, or a stomach ache. We are always being spiritually guided, and when we choose to listen and pay attention to the signs given, things are easier because we are on the correct path. The brain in our head is also where our ego lives. The ego will have you living in the past, remembering things that you did or what happened to you with the mind chatter of I did, or I was, or I had, keeping the past alive while wanting things to be different in the future. That equates to never living in the present moment, which is where the real gift of life is. The ego will also have you living in the future, thinking about how things could have been or should have been or how they will be. Trusting your first thought is usually correct. When the ego comes in and talks you out of whatever you were thinking, telling you things like, that can't happen, that won't work, or you shouldn't, so then you don't. And you let the ego block you from what may have been one of the greatest opportunities that you could have experienced just because you couldn't fathom how it would happen. When we trust what we're thinking, as that is our higher selves and spirit guides and creator speaking to us, they always want the best for us based on unconditional love, miracles, and the unseen, taking us to places that the ego can't even imagine because the ego is of the world and can only operate in the lower vibrations of the physical self. Trusting yourself is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Practice every time you're making a decision to go with your first instinct, unless it is negative, of course, because that would signal that you're being emotionally driven, which may take you to places you don't want to go. So see your intuition or instincts as spiritual signals saying don't go that way or come this way. And when you follow your promptings, your life will become easier because you've allowed yourself to be spiritually guided, and you can't go wrong with being spiritually guided. It doesn't mean that you won't learn the life lessons that you need to learn. However, the learning the lesson will be much easier because you did listen and saving you some unnecessary hurt and pain. So trust yourself no matter what people say or do. Trusting yourself is your spiritual power. Your power is in the trust, and the trust is your power. So love yourself and trust yourself. And until next time, be better to elevate. Much peace and love.